Hi, this is Don Moyer from Moyer Marine. This product overview is intended to lead you through the installation of our late model ignition tune-up kit. It will also be of help if you are installing points and condensers separately. Conventional points and condensers were standard configuration on all Atomic 4s produced throughout the 1970s and early 80s. And to this day, many current Atomic 4 owners prefer this technology over electronic ignition. We suspect this loyalty grows out of an appreciation of the simplicity and transparency which the opening and closing of the points provide when troubleshooting most any problem within the primary ignition circuit. All items in the tune-up kit should be replaced preventatively every second or third season, and the points anytime their contacts appear to be pitted or burned. The first step in disassembly is to remove the old distributor cap with a common screwdriver, then pull off the old rotor. Next, remove the wire that comes from the condenser, along with the wire that connects the negative terminal of the coil to the terminal on the points. The points are then removed by removing the single retaining lockdown screw. These retaining screws have odd threads, so be very careful not to drop yours in the bilge or otherwise lose it, because they're very difficult to replace. Then remove the condenser and its bracket by removing its one small retaining screw. Lastly, remove the breaker plate by removing its two small retaining screws so that you can inspect and make sure the flyweight and spring assembly is free of rust, lightly oiled, and operating freely against the spring tension. A few drops of 30-weight oil applied to the flyweight assembly is adequate. If the springs are rusty or broken, they will need to be replaced. In our case, both the flyweight assembly and springs look good. The first step in reassembly is to reinstall the breaker plate using the two little retaining screws. Notice that a dimple is provided on the breaker plate to align the base of the points in their approximate position as you reinstall the lockdown screw. Turn the lockdown screw until it's snug, but loose enough to allow the base of the points to pivot for setting the proper point gap later. Using the starter or hand crank, rotate the engine so one of the distributor shaft cam lobes is holding the points apart at their greatest distance. The engine will be easier to rotate if you remove the spark plugs to remove the compression. Using a feeler gauge, set the gap on the points to 25 thousandths. By pivoting the base of the points back and forth using a common screwdriver in the adjusting slot between the breaker plate and the base of the points. When you have the gap set correctly, tighten the lockdown screw, being careful not to over-tighten the screw as the threads are shallow and can strip fairly easily. Next, install the condenser with its mounting clamp. And connect its wire to the terminal screw on the points. Along with the wire coming from the negative terminal of the coil. Make sure the edge of the condenser does not make contact with the base of the points, which would interfere with setting the correct gap. Finally, install the new rotor, distributor cap, and spark plugs from the tune-up kit. Set the spark plug gaps to 35 thousandths and make sure the plug wires are reinstalled in the proper firing order, which is 1, 2, 4, and 3 from the front or the flywheel end of the engine. If you get confused on this point, you can go to our support menu, then to Tech Tips, then to the illustration named Rotor Positions at number 1, top dead center, with spark plug wire routing. No major retiming is necessary. However, it's advisable to go through the simple power timing procedure to fine-tune the advanced mechanism at your favorite cruising par setting the next time you take the boat out. Power timing can be seen at the end of the ignition timing video on our video tech tip page, also under the support menu. If you decide at some point to change to our Igniter electronic ignition system, we recommend keeping your original breaker plate with the points and condenser mounted and adjusted to serve as an easy emergency backup. If for any reason you lose your ignition system and suspect the igniter, troubleshooting will be made considerably simpler if you remove the igniter breaker plate and replace it with your original conventional plate with the points and condenser already mounted. If the igniter was the problem, the engine should start and run with the conventional system with no need for major retiming. Just as before, it would be advisable to power time the engine to fine-tune the advance at your favorite cruising par setting. Thank you for taking this time with us. You can visit our website at moyermarine.com for Atomic 4 parts and additional support.